Hey guys, how's it going? It's Flux here, and welcome back to Fluxburgh. We're here again in the North Flux City, kind of finishing off this road network down here, and hopefully going to finish up actually pretty much all the road laying for today, and kind of just top off this area down this way, so we can finally move on to kind of just figuring out a solution to our traffic down this way. As you can see, we got some pretty big traffic jams, and it's not really any sort of problem with capacity. We have the lanes for it. It's really just some merging problems that I could probably fix with maybe some fixing of laying these highways and things, and also using the T++ mod. Now that we have that back again, I haven't really done much with that since I got it back again. So things like this, where we could probably have, for example, the highway come in and then have the exit after the entry, and then have like a little split off to this exit in case we need to get from here to here. Just little things like that, where we can try to avoid having too much like weaving in the traffic and things like that. But there are some spots, namely kind of over here and especially right here, where it's not really anything we can do to fix, at least in terms of rerouting. It's pretty much already an optimal merging location. It's more about maybe using T++ to try and fix that or something along those lines. You may also know I'm paused right now. It's not like intentional for any sort of like game reason. Actually, I'm just having some problems right now with like random dropped frames in the game. So I'll probably hit play a few times throughout the episode whenever we're working on things that need to be simulated, but I'll try to keep it paused when we're not, just because it gets like much better. I mean, I'm getting like 60 plus, like up to 80, and then all of a sudden I hit play, and when you're sitting there with 178,000 people all being simulated at once, it definitely just totally destroys the frame rate, and it's mostly just the CPU load that's really killing it. So anyway, that's the reason for that. But for today, I would like to, first of all, I want to move these. I had these here for the longest time, and they were all just kind of like temporary locations. I just wanted to like throw them down, for whatever reason. But we're finally at a point now where I'd like to actually move them away from where the city's going to be. So this kind of back area is actually going to be, well, first of all, I want to use the terraforming mod. I've gotten some suggestions for this as well, to kind of create some hills, some mountains kind of coming out in this direction, and then maybe along this way, along the coast a little bit. Maybe even kind of coming in onto the actual lake over here. And then I'm going to try and pull these guys and move them down onto this side over here, maybe alongside that little inlet over here on this side. Just kind of get it away from here, and then this whole side here is going to be office space, and possibly even over here too, depending on how much demand for industrial stuff we get. And then so last episode I actually did talk about this. I mentioned the potential for basically overhauling this entire ore mining operation and trying something new, trying some kind of like dug in areas, with like a more realistic approach to it. And I actually got a really, really split answer. A lot of you guys were saying it'd be cool to try and overhaul it, but it sounded like a lot of you guys just wanted me to be like done with this for a little while and to not worry about it. And also just the fact that it's probably at its highest efficiency right now, and messing with it at all is probably going to end up making it less efficient, which again isn't entirely a huge problem. We have plenty of space throughout the map to add new, industry, maybe even like a little industry island down this way or something. Who knows? We can really do a lot with this. In fact, that's not even a bad idea, having like a little industrial island back this way. We could even have the cargo ships go like back and forth like this. Maybe use some train links and stuff too. So I don't know. We got plenty of options with that. So my solution for now is basically we're just going to ignore it. We're just going to give it a rest for a bit, because like I said, we've been working on this area a lot, so I'm not really going to worry about it right now. It's doing its job. It's working just fine. No reason to really change anything yet. So we'll go ahead. We'll work on the rest of this. We'll try and finish this city area for today. And then we can come back and we can start working on, throwing in some trains. And what I really want to do, and I've seen this mentioned a lot, is really get a nice metro system going. Because right now I have hardly any metros. I think I have actually no metros in this city at all. And a couple down this way that are not really functioning at their full capacity. They don't really need to, though. I mean, this area isn't really super bad traffic-wise. So what I'll probably do, and you can see I have one over here as well, that's actually running just like a default route, I think. Actually, I think that's actually a specified route. Hang on a minute. Metro lines. Yeah, this is the Fluxburgh Outer City Loop. It's white. So, yeah, we have kind of some like big open metro loops that are a little bit more like big looped loops, I guess. But down this way, what I really want to do is, first of all, I want to try and tidy up this area a bit with the all these tunnels. I know I have some mixed, I guess, reactions and opinions on these tunnels. Some of you guys think that they're pretty awesome, and other guys, you know, don't really like the idea of tunnels. I personally like them a lot. I think that they work really well, and I don't think it's necessarily cheating the system at all. I think it's actually an essential part of making a city like this that functions and doesn't have any traffic backup. Because as you can see, we really have hardly any traffic at all in this actual city. The only place that we have traffic right now is just all from trying to cross this one section here. And admittedly, it's not necessarily the best way to do it. You know, have like one single highway that crosses this area. But that was kind of my idea from the beginning, was to try to basically fit as much traffic as I could on one highway and see if we could make that work. And it seems like we're starting to hit the limit now on one highway. So obviously we're going to have, you know, loops that go back this way, and we're going to have highways over on this island on this side. So eventually we're going to be splitting off, and we'll make alternate routes to get around this way. But for now, I want to see if we can stick with this. I really want to try, once we have this whole place zoned out, to make this work and really make it so that every single person traveling over here can take the single highway or take the trains or the metros and get here without having like multiple entries. I don't know, it's kind of like a personal challenge of mine. And also I just like the idea of having like a one single highway that's functioning for the entire thing. And if it's not possible, then we'll think of alternate solutions. But for now, I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I think we'll stick with it for a while. So anyway, on to the actual city building. So last time we finished this thing off here, obviously lots and lots of work to do on just making it all look nice. That's kind of like a thing that I do in the live streams, and I'll kind of speed up a bit. So for now anyway, I'm not gonna touch on that at all. So we'll probably just plan to not zone obviously any of these one-way streets and work around it for now. But why don't we, before we do this, I want to do a little bit of terraforming over here. So why don't we pull this back again? We'll go to the terraforming mod real quick. I want to kind of mess around with this a bit, see what we can do with this, and then once we have kind of some of this terraforming done, then we can really start planning out where we're going to take some of these roads on the sides this way. So why don't we start? I'm paused, so I'll also save real quick in case we have some sort of super major problem later on. But what we're going to start by doing is we're going to try to oops, I see what's going to happen here. You know what? This is so funny. This is hilarious, actually. I've been having this problem lately with my video files where for some reason I'll start and I'll like sync it perfectly, and then the end is like off by 10 seconds, and I'm like, what the heck? How is this, like, is one of them recording faster than the other? Like, how is this happening? And it's definitely just me saving the game, and then it freezes the game, but Audacity keeps going, and then I drop frames in my recording, and then it desyncs itself. Okay, so there we go. That's cool. We figured that out. That's a good mystery solved. But anyway, so that's saved. This is paused, so we can just go ahead and remove the whole entire sewage system. So let's just not forget to put these back before we hit play again, because we'll have some serious problems if we do that. But I'd like to just go ahead and basically remove all of these, and then we're going to come back here in a minute. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, that might have been wrong, but I'm just going to count about like this. So 7, 8, 9, 10, so there's about 13 or 14 of them. So we'll just keep that in mind for when we go and put them back again. But yeah, that will be kind of our temporary solution. Then also what I want to do is I want to go ahead real quick. We're going to reconnect this line later on, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and cut back on this line. There we go. Just get all this stuff out of the way. I'm going to remove this little power line. Wait a minute. Why was that even doing that? Oh yeah, we were just trying to power all this stuff back here. That was before we had these connecting down this way. So that's fine if we get rid of all this stuff. No big deal. Don't need power here anymore. I think we're actually connecting through here. Oh wow, it's a pretty tight little... Yeah, over here too though, so we're fine. We are totally fine. I have some power lines connecting, but we don't even need these really. So pretty much good to go as we are. I'll just get rid of these power lines that are kind of unnecessary right now. There we go. Oh, this goes kind of far back. Awesome. Wow, we got some trash and some death problems here at the university mascot. I guess we don't have anybody traveling on these roads right now. And we also have a traffic light. Interesting. That's another one of those things that happened. I think I have another one of those stuck somewhere. Where was that? Oh, it was over here, wasn't it? Let me see. Yeah, I get another traffic light on the highway over here. I think it's like a bug with the T++ mod. coming back to and being compatible with the new patch. It kind of made some weird spots where there are traffic lights now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get rid of the last little bit over here, like so. We'll pull out our terraforming mod. Okay, so time to kind of figure out now what we're going to do with this. So I'm thinking we start by kind of creating some hills, some little... And what I don't want to do is I don't want to have this just kind of like dead end right here and then instantly become mountainside, you know, go straight from city to mountainside. So I kind of want to have a couple buildings, you know, coming up on the plateau a little bit. So we'll try and do that as well. We'll try and incorporate that in this hillside down here. Let me just make this a little bit bigger first so we can kind of have something to work with. And then I'm going to go ahead and just start raising some land here kind of slowly. Now I have seen some pretty interesting things people have done with... you can't really do this in the actual game with the terraforming mod, but you can use the map editor to create like gigantic waterfalls by placing like lakes above and then have the water level just like above the sea level and then have it all kind of cascade down the mountain. That's pretty cool. You actually can't add water, I don't think, with the terraforming mod, but still a pretty cool idea that I've seen. I actually don't know how you really would go about doing that, actually. I'd have to watch someone do it to really get that. I don't really know how they did that, actually, but I haven't played much with the map editor to begin with, so I'm not someone to ask on something like that. Let me just make this a bit smaller for this little backside over here. Now, I'd like to also make this little section especially tall, but I don't want to have too much like obvious... whoa! Wrong tool. Hang on a minute. Let's just try and fix that a little bit. Wow, that is terrible. Let me get the flattening tool. Anyway, I don't want to make it very obvious that we have buildings growing here, so I don't want to like have the shape of the building cut into the mountain if we can help it. So I'll try to smooth that a little bit if we can. There we go. That's better. Wow, that was weird. Let me try to not build too close to these then. Okay, so far so good on that. Now, like I said, I want to be able to plan at least a few roads that come out this way. So let me just think about this for a minute. If we can kind of create a plateau over here, maybe we could build some stuff on it up here. That'll be kind of cool. And then we just kind of use this tool to re-smooth again and have it reconnect down this way somewhere. Alright, let's try and draw this out and see how this looks. A little bit unsure how this is going to roll. Also, to keep in mind, we should remember that once you draw roads, you can't really terraform around them anymore. You can terraform around them, but you can't move them up with the terraforming mod. So, obviously, you want to keep that in mind. But I think we can still make this work. But my idea was to kind of have something like this. Oops, I don't really want to use this grid tool anymore. So then we'll have it kind of come up here, and then maybe we'll have it do a little, like intersect with this road here. Here we go. Then we can have this one come up this way. And I think I'm just gonna have it like go right alongside the mountain here. That way we get as much zoning on the outside as we can. And I'll draw this out for a little bit so we can get some more possible zoning locations. There we go. And then we'll come back down again and we'll probably connect again. Ooh, I wanted to connect over here, didn't I? Okay. We can make this work, no big deal. We're gonna have to do some twisty roads. That's okay though. A little bit of this. Oops. That wasn't so good. Okay. So there's that side. Now, before I do this, I kind of want to work on some terraforming a bit more before we do that. But how about we also have maybe a few buildings grow in down below here too? So what if we had like the road kind of come out this way, and like I said, go alongside this little canyon piece here. So just enough room for some buildings to come in there, and then we'll have it go back this way again. Something like... Hang on a minute. Let's try that. That's better. Okay, that's pretty good. Now let me fix a little bit of this first before we continue with this. Might do a little bit of height manipulation over on this side. Some minor stuff. I'm going to leave this kind of how it is, although we should probably use this to get some more zonable space out of this. Oops, for some reason I can't get this to... kind of hard to work with that sometimes. Let's see how much zonable space we actually have. Okay, let's try and get a little more out of that. Let's try and get some more of these full-sized buildings before we finish off here. Then I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this a bit with the road. I'll see how that looks. I think this will actually update. It'll take a minute to update where the new bounds are. Just gonna try and smooth a little bit of this out though. It looks a bit weird. There we go. It's better. Maybe a little bit of bumpy kind of along this ridge, so it's not so defined everywhere. And I kind of even want to have a little bit of let's see, I don't want to block anything here, but I almost think it'd be kind of cool to have a little bit of a valley you're going into here or something. I don't know. Seems like it'd be kind of cool. So there's not gonna be a lot of buildings growing over here anyway. Maybe minus this spot. We might need some stuff here, so maybe not totally do that. There we go. Then again, I wouldn't mind having a bit of a mountain on both sides, valley kind of thing. That looks kind of cool. Maybe do something like that. Make some sharper points at the top of these as well. I don't want to mess with that too much, so we can still grow some buildings in. But, you know, this area over here could use some. Definitely love using this terraforming tool. I want to try and use it more. I know you guys, you may watch Yudo. He does a lot of terraforming work, and I think that's really cool. He does lots of underpasses and road work with the terraforming tool. That's something I've still not really gotten used to yet, but I'd like to try and do that more and incorporate it more in certain areas. So may have to give that a shot sometime soon here. Oh, also, I should mention, I was talking with Yudo, actually. I'll link his channel below so you can know who I'm talking about. But I was talking with him earlier on Steam, and we had this cool idea, I shouldn't say we, he had this cool idea of creating embassies in our cities based on each other. So he's making a Flux embassy in his city, which if you haven't seen it yet, it's actually really, really awesome. It's like this... He's kind of the guy who's taken on this approach of essentially just only using, for his highways anyway, single lane highways. And the idea with that is that, you know, kind of things like this basically. So only using the highway ramps. And by doing that, you eliminate any merging problems, I should say. And it seems to be working pretty well for him so far. Although he doesn't have a nearly as large population as I do, at least in his, you know... His highways aren't being stressed nearly as much, I guess I should say. So we'll see how it holds up. But it's a pretty cool idea, and I think it actually will work really well. And he's got quite a bit of experience in that as well. He's been playing like SimCity and Cities XL for as long as I have, probably even longer actually. So really cool guy. But anyway, we're making embassies. So I gotta design a Yudo embassy somewhere in my city. I'm still kind of planning that out. I actually have a few buildings in mind that I want to use. But he had a really cool start on mine, so now I gotta kind of live up to that. He's got like this big flower bed that has like an F in it. It's pretty cool. I gotta try and find something that would be that cool. Okay, so about this area, let's try and level this a bit so we don't have such, at least for where the buildings are gonna be. I don't mind it being, you know, uneven obviously in places that aren't gonna have buildings, but I'd like to have maybe a little plateau that comes out this way, because this is going to be maybe a little bit of an office corridor or office area back out this way. So maybe have some room for some offices down this way, like an elevated area or something. I kind of imagine this as being like the corporate locate. You know, they have like all these big corporate guys that are like looking down on all the people working in the factories. This is like they literally have like a higher elevated platform where all their offices are, and they like look down on the big operation. I think that'd be kind of cool. So let me try and smooth this a little bit on the corners here. It's a little bit rough. And then I'll obviously be doing some terraforming around it, but I just want to at least have a rough draft kind of area, and then we'll cut away at it. So I want to I want to make sure we have more than enough space, and then we'll cut back on it. That's the idea. So let's head down the... Oh, that was weird. Why did that happen? Hang on a minute. I think that's kind of a bug if you don't hit play right away. Oh, wow, the sewage is not here. Hang on, we can't hit play for very long. I thought there was a bug with the way the roads work where it'll start trying to make tunnels and stuff. Like it'll... See, it's gonna like dig into the ground a bit when we get to areas like this. Yeah, see, slope too steep. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit weird how that works. I don't know. I think I need to... I don't know if it was... I had the same problem down this way earlier. So I don't really know how I can fix that exactly. Maybe I need to like... Here, let me try something real quick. So if I tab up to like here, and then what if we try using this height here? Was that gonna work? Is that gonna let me draw on it? I'm not really sure. Again, I'm still learning this tool quite a bit, so I really don't know exactly how a lot of this stuff works. So it'll be interesting to see how this functions. Okay, good. So now I can draw on this. Interesting. That's strange. I don't really know why that works, but okay. And you can see it kind of does some weird stuff over here too. Same kind of thing happening here. Because I didn't actually pull this out over here all the way. So, okay. Let me cut back one to like be like that, and then I'm gonna try drawing. Oops, another thing happening here where we're gonna have some weird bugs. Let me try going up to about here. Yeah, that's pretty decent. And I'll try doing this again. Maybe this will work. I really don't know why this happens, but maybe it's because I'm playing while it's paused. I don't know, but the thing is I can't really mess with that now. Oops. You can only mess with the whole play thing, or we're gonna have no sewage treatment at all, and that would be not good. Oops, that was still one too low. How's that? That's a little bit higher up. Anyway, that was kind of my idea anyway, was to pull it out this way. Let's see, if I use this tool again, can I like make this a viable thing? I don't really know how this is working. I think it's because I'm over the water now, and it's thinking that there's... I don't know. I really don't know, actually. Whoa, that is strange. That is bizarre, actually. Oh, because I have the game set to be... Okay, that's why. I still had it set to, like, page way up. That makes more sense. Okay. So there's a little office loop down this way. Maybe I'll have, like, one little section that goes this way, and then it kind of cuts in again. Like that. We're going to have some office buildings up here. Kind of overwatching this. Maybe even have like a little... I don't know about this actually, we'll see. Actually, that's kind of cool. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. Okay, and then let me just try to fix this with this tool a little bit. So my idea with this is to definitely make it look really nice. You know, I want to have... Oops. I want to have lots of, you know, parks and things around here to make it all look really nice and like a cool place you'd want to work. It's the upper level kind of area, you know? That's weird. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit. Okay. So anyway, we're going to reshape this in a minute here. I just want to make sure we get this side done as well. Yeah, let me just draw... I kind of want to draw out in this direction as well, so hang on a minute. Let me move this. And again, we can always draw further than you need to, just to get that base layout with the streets done, and then you can come back and cut it in quite a bit if you need to. So let's try that. That's pretty good. And then I will use the level tool to try and match that. Again, still have no idea. If anyone has an idea like why that happens, let me know. I think it has to do with the fact that there's water beneath where I'm drawing. And I'm also playing in pause mode, so the water's not updating yet. I'm pretty sure that's why this is happening. But again, I really Could be absolutely wrong on that. I wouldn't know. Not enough experience yet with this. Alright, let's try this. Ah, perfect. Okay. Then we'll just draw this straight on back. Oops. Some weird stuff happening here occasionally. A little bit of dipping here and there, but not too bad. I guess you'd expect to have some abnormalities in your terrain height if you're building on something like this to begin with, but yeah, let me see if I can fix this a little bit. Maybe I can make it a bit more even. Oops. Now let's try this. That's better, I think. Okay, it's still going to draw into the ground a little bit. Ooh, a little more than a little bit. See if we can just go a little bit at a time and see if we get a nice... That's probably as good as we're going to get right there. That's actually a little bit better than we had before, so I'm just going to go with that. Anyway, that was kind of my idea for like a shape of a little upper office area. So now what we can do, and what I wanted to do, is kind of pull this plateau down a tiny bit. So we'll grab a kind of middle ground area over here, and we'll draw this out quite a bit. Again, using more space than we need just in case, because you can always cut back on it, but it's really hard to match the same height while you're drawing roads. It's nice to have a nice level playing field. So this area shouldn't have nearly as many problems, I think, because we're not drawing over water. So let's try this. Let's also try smoothing this out a little bit and creating a little drive area. Alright, so then we'll come back down here again. Let me just re-tab down to there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and draw this. I'd like it to be perpendicular to this, though. Let me try and draw something real quick. Obviously not going to be the final look of this, but actually, hey, that kind of worked out pretty well. I don't even mind that. I think we're going to keep that, actually. Actually, no, I don't want to keep it. I want to have this nice little plateau here. And I also probably am going to need to decide which side's going to get the actual zoning. So, there's that. But this is going to work. And I think I might just have this road come back down and connect over here again. Yeah, let's just do that. So we'll have this come out. We'll kind of smooth this thing out again here. I'm just going to pull this out a little bit further, and then we'll use the smooth tool to make this look nice and clean. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to try and make this especially some cool looking terraforming and stuff. I want to have some nice little valley kind of thing this goes through right here. So let's try and use some more of the terraforming tool. And now we can start playing around with this quite a bit more now that we've gotten this road laid out. So, okay, let's think about this for a minute. Let me just first of all think where we're going to zone. So I definitely want the inside track here for this one, for zoning. And maybe we can actually cut this back a little bit so that we can also zone on the outside of this avenue. Probably would not be a bad idea. In fact, let's definitely do that. Oops. Need to smooth this out just a tiny bit to make that a viable place to zone. That should work, right? Yeah, there we go. So now we got the full zone here. And then I think I'm just going to cut this back a little more because I honestly kind of want to have... hang on a minute. Make sure that gets smoothly cut. I kind of like this being like a rigid plateau. So I'm going to stick with that. I'll just quickly fix this a little bit so we make sure we get the full zoning here. There we go. So that's perfect. So now we have plenty of room in the middle for the plateau. We got the full zones here and here. And then we got the full zoning here minus this. Let me just fix this a little bit just so we can make sure we get all this stuff. Maybe just do a little bit of that. How's that going to work? Smooth this maybe a little bit. A little bit there too. I don't know if it's updating or not. Again, I don't know how this works. So I'll just stick with that for now. It's fine. Okay. So we got that. Now we should probably have a few more kind of roads along the outer rim down this way. And I kind of want to have some boardwalky stuff too. So maybe we'll... Wow, this episode just flew by. I totally didn't even realize how far we are already. Let me just finish up. We'll finish shaping this, and then we're probably going to come back next episode. I know I said we were going to finish this whole area, but that's not going to happen. It's just a lot of work still. So, yeah, next time we can come in here, and we can finish laying this out. I really want to have like a boardwalk kind of thing along this way. That would be kind of nice. And then also we're going to have to definitely put down some areas for our sewage, because I'm totally going to forget about that. We need to make sure we do that, or else we're going to have some serious problems later. And we can't even start zoning anything until we do that, for sure. So that's kind of the next step in this whole ordeal. Let me try and grab a few little things that could be like plateau-y areas down this way, just to make this look a little bit more natural, a little bit less weird, if we can help it. I don't want to actually take away from this area up here, though. I just wanted to use this to get some more plateau stuff to work with. Again, we can always cut away. Cutting away is easier than adding. So kind of want some different heights here to this plateau area, though. So let's try and work with this a little bit. Maybe do some more mountain forming out this way. And the tool definitely creates some kind of jagged edges here and there, so I'm trying to make that look reasonable. Certain places kind of look strange with that. So we'll definitely shape up this little side down this way. For some reason, this tool is just super, super aggressive. Like it cuts really fast. I'd like it to be more like this tool, which is much less aggressive. I might just try and use this a little bit. So this back area is definitely going to be losing. Well, we'll see. May need a little bit more plateau space out this way so we can make this look nicer. Again, it's all about just starting with a good baseline, using this tool, which is a really good tool to help out with that, and then coming back and adding that in. So then if we do this, what I was thinking, or I was kind of imagining in my head, was to have some stuff pulled out this way, right? Some little landforms that come out like this. Maybe like this a little bit. And then that's where we're going to have all the sewage from the city pumped to. These little spokes where we can have all of our sewage stuff sitting. And we can actually utilize the roads here to create more even corners. You know, I'm gonna stop here though, because I know I'm gonna get into this and then I'm gonna spend like 3 hours on this. So how about we cut this here, and then I'm gonna come back next episode for sure. I might have to cut this back a bit. It's kind of close to that. But we'll come back for sure next episode, and we will finish up all this stuff. And that's probably even a lie. I won't even say finish up. I'll just say we're going to try our best to get as much done as we can. How about that? That's a pretty good compromise. And hopefully we will, at the very least, finish all the terraforming. But I got some pretty cool ideas for this, so I want to try some of this stuff out, and we'll see how it works. I might try some off camera so we don't have to waste so much time in case it goes wrong. And yeah, that's the episode for today. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of City Skylines. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.